Hello, dear viewers and listeners. It's your boy Amir Asmara. I'll be your host for today. And today we are having a Youth Baraza. It's another episode, another session that we are having here. It's quite some time that umetumia sana. So, of course, huwa siko peke yangu. I have very informative people around me here, around the topic that we are having today. We are having the topic today is how to manage stress. Now, I always come along with expertise in these sessions. So, tuanze on my right.
Okay, hello viewers, hello everyone. Hi Amir. My name is Antigoals. I'm the founder and president of Edifyers youth organization. I'm here to speak about stress and how to manage stress. I hope all of us will have an interactive session. Thank you.
Okay. Sakinat.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sakinat Liyakut. I'm a pharmaceutical technologist and the founder of Hope, an organization that deals with mental health as its focus and other aspects of health as well. Hope stands for helping our people every day, and that's what we do. We help each other out every day.
Okay. Simesikia hizo introduction heavy ambazo tuko nazo hapa. So mimi nitaanza tu na Ray.
Okay.
So what is stress?
Okay, thank
and
you.
how does it affect us?
Okay, thank you Amir for that question. All of us knows that stress is it's a natural response towards our behavior, or the natural body's behavior towards what we do and in our normal life. So stress, it's something that when left unattended, it can affect you. But when attended early, it's something that you can get rid of.
And how does it affect us?
Okay, stress affects us in many ways. For example, it can affect us physically, it can affect us emotionally, and also it can affect our behavior. How we behave, for example, physically, it can affect us, too much stress or prolonged stress may lead to depression. So that's headache, that's how the body behaves. Irritability, you just feel like you are irritated. You see? Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so Sakina, tukija kwako. You said you're dealing with mental health.
Yes.
Yeah. As part of the organization. Yes. So maybe what are the types of stress ambazo watu wanapitia sana ama ambazo they are prone to people?
That's a very nice question. So we go into details about it in terms of the types of stress. There are three main ones. So there is acute stress, there is acute episodic stress, and there's chronic stress. Now, acute stress is something very short term. It's very temporary, and the moment it's like it just after the event, it's just gone. Like it's not even there for long. Something like being stuck in a traffic jam, so you'll get frustrated, or you want to meet deadlines during those times. Episodic stress, acute episodic stress comes in form of frequent episodes of acute stress, where every time, let's say you've taken a huge responsibility, now you're trying to juggle those responsibilities. There's too much of pressure that causes that acute episodic stress. We move over to chronic stress, which is a prolonged exposure to stressful triggers or environment. Let's say in that circumstance, maybe an abusive marriage or a toxic marriage, work stress, like you're in a toxic workplace, or just generally work has been like for a prolonged time you've been stressed. So this is unfortunately the worst of all, which causes depression, causes headaches, all body aches and all that. There are other forms as well, like there's physical stress, which is mostly related with illnesses, injuries, emotional stress, that is interpersonal relationship issues. We have psychological stress, the feeling of being not good enough, those internal thoughts that are quite negative. So those are quite effective for you. You feel like your self-esteem is destroyed because of those psychological stress. And we also have eustress stress. That is a positive form of stress in terms of, for example, you attain something challenging. So you feel that you've achieved something, and that's a positive form. Or if you're excited for a wedding, an event, we have distress as well. That is a negative part. That's the opposite of eustress now. So let's say it's the negative side of the stress, where constantly you're under pressure. You're like, there's societal pressure, there's pressure for yourself from family, so yeah, that causes the negative side.
Okay, this is the first time that nasikia kuna positive side ya stress. Because mi kila siku nimezoea stress ni kitu kubwa negative, alafu hapo unakuwa so much overwhelmed hapo katikati. Kumbe kuna eustress.
Yeah.
Kuna eustress. Penzi watazamaji, kuna eustress. Eustress ni nzuri. Sakina hapa mtuambia. Haya. So labda unajua in settings kama sisi zetu za vijana. Kuna zile the minor signs. Na tujui msongo wa mawazo. Unajua si mpaka unajua mimi I had that depression is the last stage is the last stage that comes after stress.
Yeah, it's the effect of stress. Too much of stress causes depression.
Okay. Sasa. So katika hizo kuna zile early signs, zile ni zipi hizo? Mwanzo labda mtu aziona. Unajua sisi vijana tuna mtu akwambia nimestressika, kumbe hata just something that they use stress us. Nimestressika, kumbe is just happy for the upcoming events.
Okay, just as my colleague has said, wajua stress, the signs, maybe you are saying about the signs and symptoms of stress. Okay, for example, umetumia mfano mzuri sana kusema vijana. You see, mostly what causes stress in youths are sometimes, you see, you've accomplished or you've graduated from campus, or you've graduated from a course that you maybe thought immediately nikitoka shule nitapata kazi. But ukifika kwa ground, you find that things are now different. They are very different. So unapigwa pressure ya mzazi kuwa unajua you need to find a job, you need to do this. Unapigwa na pia pressure of your friends. That's something, another thing that causes stress. Unapata there's a youth your age, that guy is driving a car, you actually don't know the source of the car imetoka wapi. Yeah, maybe amefanya, we call sikuizi kuna kahaya, si ndio? Maybe amekahaya gari, but ukimwona unapewa pressure maybe by someone close to you, you need to do this, you need to do this. So there's just some minor things that causes us stress that we must avoid them. One, your peer pressure. Another thing causing stress, you might be stressed and you don't know actually. You might be stressed na hujui kabisa kama uko stressed. Okay. Because have you find yourself in a scenario that you're being told ushaulizwa, have you ever been stressed, but you say no, sijawahi kuwa stressed. Actually you can be stressed but you don't realize why. It's because stress, too much thinking pia is a stress. Venye amesema a short term stress, that acute stress, it's something that ka small headache, umefikiria kitu ka small headache ama unataka kufika nyumbani. Let me say like today, before tufike session, I had that short term stress. Niko pale ferry lakini ferry zimekataa kutoka. I'm like, I need to rush to that interview. I need to rush to that. So nakaa nikifikira nasema na nikichelewa, what if ni sasa, that's kitu inanisumbua akili. Mwana, hizo ni vitu kidogo. It's something small. You want to go somewhere, umechelewa kidogo, you need to do something, back off kidogo. Kuna mtu anakutegemea, maybe umeenda kazi, you expected to have something at the end of the day, na haujafanikiwa kupata. So there's a way that we can try to avoid this. I think tutaongelea tukiendelea, so that isikulead to that long term stress.
Okay. Let me pose this question to you, pia Sakina, Madam Sakina. The signs, the early warnings. Like you said, kuna zile mtu anakoma kwa traffic jam. Just tumeamka tu kuna hasira tu. Mtu amehot basi, ndo unaanza tukana huko, ushadua mikono kwenye dirisha, nini sasa? So these are ten signs.
Yes.
Ama zipi, kuna zile wengine wabaga vitu, I think kuna is it stress ama ni anxiety ama ni nini?
That portion comes in as stress. But if you look at it, anxiety and stress are actually quite correlated. Anxiety causes stress, and stress also causes anxiety. So there's that small effect there. But they are slightly different in terms of how they come over. As in, stress itself comes in as a form of external factor. Maybe something outside is the one that is causing. Mostly it's external. While anxiety is the constant feeling that something's wrong. You have that fear, that unease. That kind of feel kama tuseme something is not going right, something bad will happen. Feeling of doom. That is anxiety.
Okay. So how is one expected to act ama to handle it? Zikifikia your time sasa. Like you see, that time unakuwa hizo episodes sasa. You can be a mother alafu unashautia mtoto without you realizing kama umefanya makosa. Ama it's disturbing you, but the ripple effects zinaenda kwa the children.
True.
How can person handle it? Maybe you pen employee uko pale kazini. Boss anakutilia makelele alafu wewe mwenyewe uko na stress zako za nyumbani. Uko hapo sasa you act it upon it, kumbe ndo unaharibu kazi. How can someone handle it?
This happens, I think, to almost everyone. And it's a tendency because, sometimes we don't even know how to control ourselves, or we don't even understand our emotions well to kind of, if you just don't decipher your emotions well, you don't understand them well, you're going to react in a total messed up. It's going to be chaotic. So for you to understand, first of all, there's an advice I always give out. It's good to journal. So, you can write it down. You can write down your triggers. That way, it helps you to understand yourself better as a person. It also helps you to understand what is something that makes me tick. Maybe for me as a person, like for my personal opinion, I can't really stand people screaming and shouting, especially when it's a fight or something. There's negative emotion. So it really makes me kind of sick. I feel very suffocated at those times. I'm not comfortable in those. I'm very sensitive in that. So for me, that is my trigger. Now what you can do is you write it down. This is my trigger. And now you go forward. You try to understand it. Why is it this happens? You ask yourself, and you're like noting down those answers in that journal, like you're writing it in a book. And then what you can do is create an action plan. How can I go about this? Fine, this is my issue. It kind of makes me. So what I do normally, supposedly, if I'm in a situation and I see two people are fighting and all that, it gets sometimes too much. So sometimes I try to move away from that situation. I calm myself even, because that time it causes even anxiety even comes in eventually. So I calm myself down, and then I see if I'm in a position to help those people, then I can start how I can help them out, how I can guide them, or if they need that help. Because there's one thing, sometimes people don't want to be helped. So you just don't go and offer help, and they'll really snap at you. And you'll have to understand, because that is their right. They can say no to you for no help.
Okay.
So you have to respect that.
Okay. Kwa hiyo mtu ukimwomba usaidizi akatae, they are right.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes you don't like judge them. You don't tell them, oh, this person, huyu ni mbaya, ameniambia hivi, nilikuwa nataka kumsaidia, lakini amenifanyia hivi and all that. You try to think of it in a very neutral perspective. You think of it that definitely this person is going through their issues. And I just, the best way, let's say, supposedly, Amir, you're going through something hard in your life. Okay. So I don't just come and tell you, Amir, I know you're going through something hard and I'm going to help you out. Don't make it so like obvious that you're trying to help the person. What you do is actually, you tell the person that, things I understand they might be a bit difficult for you. And I just want you to know that I'm here if you'd ever like to talk. Give them the opportunity to decide if they want to talk to you, if they want to open up to you. Don't push them, because sometimes when you push them, it's like how a tortoise is. When you try to probe it, it's going to hide in its shell. And you try to probe people sometimes, they'll hide in their shell. They'll not be comfortable with you. So you have to create that comfort zone for them to be comfortable enough to open up to you.
Okay. Sasa, Ray.
Yes.
Before tarudi kwako Sakina, kuna vitu vingine hapo mimi sijagusia. Lakini tarudi kwako, acha tuende kwa Ray sasa. You said one point about sisi kama vijana tunakuwa na hiyo stress, peer pressure. So we get to overthink things. Mimi mwenyewe ni overthink. So how do unajua as tunasema as visions people ambao vijana we usually tend to think of the future. Sindio? We don't think about this time sasa kwa hapa. Tunakuwa so engaged in the future that we forget this time that we have. So how can the youth sasa manage that? Unajua unaweza kana mtu hivi kumbe mtu hata yuko in their own thoughts.
Yeah, sure.
Being that kuna hizo peer pressure, kuna societal pressure, wewe umesoma na wewe mwangalia mwenzako yuko huku, wewe uko huku. So how can they manage that?
Okay, thank you, Amir. Managing stress is all about balance. So you need to first take care of your emotions. You need to take care of your mind and your physical health. So you just can't say I'm managing stress when you are not balancing yourself. So if you want to manage stress, you need to balance. It's because let's say, for example, the same example I used, about the cars or the house or something like that. There's a difference between what I do. I like using my example. Let me use me myself. For example, I'm a founder of Edifyers Youth Organization. At the same time, I'm the founder of Mombasa County Youth Leaders Association. So you see, for me to manage the organization, let me, based on the Edifyers, because it's not part of the county government, because the Msila, it's being funded by the government. So let me talk about Edifyers. So for me to manage Edifyers, I need funds. So without funds, I can't manage that organization. Having in mind that let me use my colleague here. She has an organization here. So she comes from a wealthy family and I come from a humble background. So you see the two of us, we are in a competition. So I won't say that she's motivating me to put Edifyers to a point that wants to be or compared to her organization, for example. So utapata mimi most of the time inanipiga akili, what will I do? I may end up finding myself in huge debts. Why? Because I want to be in the same position she is. I want to do the same thing she's doing. Me forgetting that to the support I have and the support she has, they're totally different. There's a huge gap. So unapata, and my advice to the young people is, you need to balance yourself. You need to see yourself where you are, where you base. So they say kama kwenyu unajua you cannot afford 3 meals a day, just go with the one that you can afford. For example, they are affording maybe they eat at any time they feel eating, they have plenty, sindio? But kwetu unapata it's being a challenge, because I really admire that. And admiring that, it's not something that itanifanya nifanye bidii nifike mali wamefika, because I actually don't know. Maybe from there she'll have the inheritance. The only thing that I'll need to inherit maybe ni the clothes that mzazi maybe atakuwa ameniachia, kama zitanitosha, that is na jina la ukoo. So most of the time stress zinatu affect or affects people from humble background, people that are trying to push, not just from the humble background, but people that are trying to push. So if you push what you are doing or your objectives in a wrong manner, you'll probably end up being stressed. So but if you balance yourself, unajua okay, what if I do networking with this person, for example, anafanya, what if I go for the ideas? Unaona? So that thing itakuwa inanifungua mimi akili. I won't struggle much to know what am I doing, because nakaza na kufanya vitu huku sijui yeye anafanya aje. She has the simplest way of doing her things, but I'm struggling. So utapata at the end of the day utasikia he started an organization but ikafika mwisho akachizi. Unaona? Why? It's not because it's something that nimerogwa, ama venye people do say, it's not something that nimerogwa. Stress can lead to depression, and depression it just can't lead to depression, but leads to depression, severe stress. So nikizidi kufanya what I'm doing without balancing myself, utapata na end up doing things that won't be right. Nitakuwa chizi. At the end of the day nitapatikana pale barabarani, and saddest thing ni hakuna mtu atanishughulikia. Hata ukinipata hapo utanipita, si ndio? Hata kama ulikuwa uko na nini unaona. So it's something that we need to identify first, and we need to balance ourselves, because unajua there's something that the point that ulimuuliza, most people actually they ignore it, mostly our parents. So most of our parents believes that shouting at us, or just the example you use, shouting at us or saying things to us, or nafika mali mzazi anaweza just go out of control. So saying things that wewe mwenyewe zikikupiga unapata. So parents basically knows that that person, they're still under my care. No, they're still under my care, like I'm providing for everything. Mzazi ajui kama pia mimi I'm trying to figure out nitatoka je kwa block. Unaona? How will, so hizo vitu zinanipiga. So yake kuja akikupiga ukimwambia niko stress, anakuuliza wewe mtoto mdogo uko na stress za nini na bado uko mdogo? Unaona? Actually there are things that bado hawajaelewa, but a large percent of people in this world that they are really struggling with stress and depression, they are youths. Youths kabisa.
Hapo nakubaliana nawe.
Very true.
Sakina, in part of the anxiety part, most of us don't know really what it is.
Yeah.
We have it, but we don't know. I can't say. I just feel like siwezi. They don't know that they are suffering from the anxiety. So what are the signs? Umesema zinaendana, they go hand in hand na stress. But I think what I read, anxiety is much like it's more complicated than, and anxiety ni watu wana mistake na stress, but anxiety is the real problem. Sure. So maybe like tufafanule zaidi.
That's actually a very nice question, and it really will give insight to people. But before I answer that, I'd like to add something my colleague said, which was really amazing what you said.
Thank you.
And the thing is, what happens that young people constantly do is, you see, the social media is a really nice thing, but then it's a double-edged sword. So there's one good part of it, and then there's the negative part of it, that people believe everything they see on social media, and they start comparing it with their lives. You know, like if you see someone's married and having kids and traveling, and you go like, oh, how comes I'm this age and I'm not yet married, or I don't have someone, or I've gone through a toxic marriage, you know, those scenarios. Or if someone's successful, they have an amazing career, and you feel like, I'm still left behind. So my advice to people is, first thing, stop comparing yourself. Everyone is going as per their own timeline. You have your own timeline. And there's this notion that has been going on for years and years, that by 30, you're supposed to have achieved everything. Career, marriage, kids, everything. That notion is so wrong, because it makes people feel that I'm not good enough. And like I told you, then that psychological stress comes in, where people will have those negative thoughts in their mind constantly. In that scenario, I would say everyone's going as per their timeline. It's not, life does not end at 30. There's so much. And if you look, there are amazing examples out there. You can imagine Colonel Sanders started KFC at a much older age. J.K. Rowling, the writer, the author of Harry Potter. She started writing Harry Potter, and her book got published after so many struggles. I think at around 31. And that book even got rejected by so many people. Until 12 publishers, like she went to 12 of them, and everyone was rejecting it until someone accepted it. And like right now, what is Harry Potter? It's a franchise. It's like a whole set. People like crazy for them. So that's like, don't compare yourself with anyone. If someone could write a book and got that book at 31, published at 31, you're not far. People at 20 and 15 and even 21, they go like, oh, I'm useless, I'm worthless, I'm a failure. No, you're not. There's so many amazing, amazing things left to achieve. Don't give up, just hold on. And don't let anyone's negative or even positive success make you feel you're not good enough. You're going as per your best. Look at where you came from, where you started. And if you have not yet started, it's not too late. You can just start it even now. It's all right. So coming to your question about anxiety, now what happens with anxiety is, see, with stress, it's caused by an external factor. But anxiety is there, constantly there. And everyone at one point or the other is suffering from stress or has suffered from stress. While anxiety, it's only a certain percentage of population that is affected.
Okay.
Like when you look at it, with women and men, women are prone to be affected by anxiety more than men. In fact, there was a study in 2022, 2023 thereon, around 37.1% of women suffer from anxiety, while 29.9% of men suffer from anxiety. So you can imagine the difference.
Yeah, that's very little.
Yeah.
Difference,
and why it is, the reasons for it are, I'll tell you this, is with women, there are hormonal fluctuations.
Yeah.
So our bodies are constantly having fluctuations with hormones. So that affects your cycle, that affects your mood, that affects how you behave, Second thing goes with, second thing is societal norms or the rules that the society has put on women. There's a kind of a standard how a woman is supposed to behave. So that constant stress and pressure causes anxiety, because now you feel like I'm not behaving in such a manner, so there's something wrong, and now you feel I'm not good enough, and then anxiety pops in. Another thing is rumination. Women have this tendency of focusing on negative thoughts a lot.
Okay.
So like you said about overthinking. Yes, that's true. People overthink, but women tend to overthink more than men. There is that thing. That is how naturally it is. Now with anxiety, what happens is it can be caused by genetics. It can be caused by an illness like thyroid issues. Supposedly, when your thyroid is high, that is hypothyroidism, or even if it's low, hypothyroidism. It will affect and it will cause anxiety. The other thing that happens is the way your brain is chemically. The chemical neurotransmitters in your brain. Some people have less of those happy hormones. Like, there are happy hormones that are necessary in our body. So some people have a lower amount of those hormones, and that leads to them having anxiety and stress.
Okay.
So there are many things that can cause anxiety. And the signs that eventually when it gets so bad, most of those times people end up having panic attacks. They have these feelings of being unworthy. They can't, you'll be irritable every time. You'll be like moving, fidgeting.
Yeah.
You have anxiety. You're not feeling comfortable. And you'll even have social withdrawal. You'll not want to be around people. You'll not want to be interacting outside with anyone. So you'll close it off.
Okay. Sasa, before we dive into that, I know that is a very very good diversion that you're taking, and I really love it. And that's, I know my viewers will be so intrigued to listen to it. Before we continue, I would like us to take a short break, then we'll be back. Hello, welcome back to the episode ya Youth Baraza. So as we said, tulikuwa tunazungumzia how to manage stress in this world, that everything it happens anyhowly, na there are a lot of things that are happening. So kwa tumemalizana na Madam Sakina hapa akituelezea the insights about anxiety. So let me pose this question to Ray about the strategies to manage anxiety, because here I know the social withdrawal that amesema, you can see it in the youth where they tend to venture into other stuff. So the illegal stuff, the drinking habits zinakuwa hivyo, mtu anajua associate with the society. So how can they manage this anxiety?
Okay, I think there's no shortcut. there's no shortcut. To those venye umesema wanatumia substance, there's no shortcut. You know, there's this kama tunaita, I think, is it mira or mguka, something like that, eh?
Mboka.
Yeah. You know, kando na kuwa people are consuming, when I was finishing my driving course, we were told that most of the drivers wanatumia hiyo ndio wasilale barabarani. But utapata ataitumia, the more anatumia more and more, but akifika katikati ya barabara usingizi ndio huo unampata. Yeah, so too much of consuming ndio unapata wanafika mali mpaka and there's one issue that people know as from the coast on what we normally do, especially from the boy child, eh? So anakwambia tu boy child hao wako tu, the only people that are trying to show bidii ni wanawake. Why? Because sisi tumejiwekea tu ile starehe. Unajua pia too much relaxing na kupiga hizo masherehe zinachangia pia. So unapata like yuko baharini, kazi ni mgoka, kazi ni bangi, kazi ni nini. Wajua okay, at a point it can be medicine, maybe my colleague anaweza kagusia hapo if it is, but for me to what I know, that's something very harmful to your health, eh? So just imagine taking the green substance, unakunywa, you imagine you are taking sukuma wiki, eh? The soup itself ingia ndani, umeona? Alafu we take an example of taking something like alcohol. So when back in high school we were given an experiment to do. Unachukua, we bought meat, then pombe ikanunuliwa. So kaambiwa just put that meat inside the alcohol, give it some times, and then see the color that it will change. So when you see about the color and you imagine that person that it's consuming each and every day, unaona? So inafika mali tu mwili unachoka. Unaona? Mwili unachoka kabisa, like you just can't respond to it. And we've seen stress, it's nature behavior on how your body responds. So ile tu kitu mimi naweza waambia, for them to avoid it, there's no shortcut. Just get rid of it. Know how to get. Mtu aliniambia mtu kama anavuta sigara 2 a day, unajaribu 1.5 but it's something that saizi tumepewa rehabilitation centers, they are there. It's something that ukienda huko after some time unapata you are well, but usipozuia hizi vitu utapata anxiety, itakukula. At the end of the day utasikia sijui amefanyika nini, ameenda kakatwa mguu. And you know ukikatwa something like mguu, you are not guaranteed to live more. Umeona? So maisha yako inakatishwa kidogo, utakatwa mguu, after a month utasikia huyu alishatuacha. But it's something that we ourselves can avoid it. First you have to accept the situation venye iko. Accept yourself. Learn on how to change, learn from the people, because we have mentors. Yeah, tuko na psychologist, because hawakwenda kusomea kazi bure. So you need to be talking to these people. But ukienda in the name of uko na mbogi, mnajaribu sijui kufanya nini, kitakuramba wewe mwenyewe. At the end of the day tukikupata pale nje umekuwa chizi, sisi tutakupita tutakujui. Unaona? So that's how the society judges for now.
Okay. You talked about the parties. Ni kweli ziko katika the society. They are affecting the society. For the youth stress za my youth na anxiety za my youth, they differ from the elders, you know?
Yeah.
Sasa sisi tuko na shida 10,000, elders zetu wako na milioni. Sasa imagine the stress. So Sakina kuja kwako. Should we expect to be stressed in this difficult situation? Because watu kila mtu analalamikia economy imeenda hewaya, vitu zimepanda, kazi hakuna, the jobless, kila mtu ana rush everywhere. Should we expect?
Yes, stress is a very natural response. And we'll go into a bit of biology here. So what happens when stress comes in? So our body has a nervous system. Now it's divided into 2 major parts. That is the central nervous system. That's the main control unit of your whole body. And then we have the peripheral nervous system. which is your link to the outside world. Now, the central nervous system is divided into, like, what it consists of is the brain and the spine. And these are the main components. This is like, tuseme yani, kama kwa simu, there's the motherboard. So this is your motherboard, is brain and spine. And God forbid, if something happens to either of this, it messes a lot of things, because any coordination, everything, digestion, everything is handled by these main things.
Okay.
So it's like a huge process. There are impulses sent and all that. We'll not go much into it. But the peripheral nervous system itself is again divided into two. So there's the autonomic nervous system, which deals with involuntary processes of your body. Yani tuseme kama digestion, respiration, hizi zote ni processes zinatokezea yenyewe, yeah? But it's because of the involuntary. You will not decide leo mimi nataka digestion ifanyike, leo sitaki. It's going to be done on constant level.
Constantly.
Ni kwa sababu your body. So your body is the one handling all this, and it's the one that is handling all this. So this is the involuntary side. Then we have the somatic, which handles the voluntary ones. So tuseme kama walking, talking, ile perception kwa heat. If this is like smooth, you can touch it, it's smooth. Unajua ni perception. Ile senses zako kama seeing something, admiring, all that. So that is into somatic.
Somatic.
Yeah. Now autonomic yenyewe, sasa it's divided again into two.
What?
So there's sympathetic, which deals with the fight or flight response. Ile tuseme wakati umeona kitu, you're stressed ama whatever, you want to fight in that situation, ama you want to run away from the situation. Some dangerous situation, utakimbia. So that is in the sympathetic side. And parasympathetic is the side where it's rest and digest. So now when one is functioning, the other one is going to be put on hold. So what happens actually is, to say, if I'm in a dangerous situation, or if I'm in a stressful situation, the brain is going to send signals to adrenal glands. These are glands located just above your kidneys. Now the adrenal glands are going to, after that signal, they are going to release a hormone known as adrenaline. Now the adrenaline rush is really, what you want to say, adrenaline junkie. They go and do bungee jumping and all that things, skydiving. Those are also adrenalines. That is when you have a spike in adrenaline. People like that. So after adrenaline in a surge, it's going to cause effects because of adrenaline. It's going to be rapidly released into your body and in your bloodstream. So what will happen is you'll have an increased heartbeat. Your heart rate will increase. You have increased breathing down, or you'll be like, because now your body is preparing for that fight or flight. Even notice when you run, you're going to have a panting response to it, right? So it's because your body is doing that. And when adrenaline is high, there's a surge of adrenaline. Cortisol is going to be released after that. And the good thing about adrenaline is once your stress imeisha, itashuka. But cortisol, the bad thing comes in, which is also known as the stress hormone, is its levels stay elevated for a longer time. Cortisol it helps you cope with the stressful situation at that time. So that's why it's released. And it's released by the same adrenaline glands.
Okay.
Yeah. So the adrenal glands are the ones releasing in the same process. It's going to cause the cortisol to be released from the adrenal glands. And because of it being high, extreme levels of it being really high, like elevated levels, this is haishuki haraka. It takes time. And it depends also on the stressful situation. Kama ingekuwa ni stress chronic umekaa throughout, that levels are going to be really high for a very long time. And the effects come in is, you notice people are having extreme fat accumulation, weight gain around the face and abdomen for some people. Some people will have increased blood sugar levels, which can even cause diabetes. Eventually your insulin is going to be like out of whack. Blood sugar is going to be messed up. You'll have that. Isha increased blood pressure. So you'll end up getting, unasema we mtu ana sukari, we mtu ana pressure. So it's because of all these cortisols effects, high blood pressure. Now, because this cortisol, it's good, it's necessary in your body at a certain amount. Low levels, extreme low levels are not good. Extreme high levels are not good. But because it's good in terms of it causes lipolysis. That is the breakdown of fats. It causes breakdown of carbohydrates. So it's really necessary. Ni muhimu kwa mwili. Lakini at a certain level.
At a certain level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they say, even they say there's that saying, too much of something is poisonous. So you have to even keep in mind that if I'm in a stressful situation, I have to think, hebu nikipata hiyo extreme stress, my cortisol will go high na itaniharibu my health. So I have to think at that time that no, my health is my priority.
Ndio napata information hizo. Ndio maana nikasema I don't bring just people here, I bring people with the actual intent ya just to give the knowledge, information to our youngins. Sindio kule nje. Ray, mimi najua you work around youth, around vijana, you are in this sema tuko on this same boat. Sindio? Yeah, kuwa we see people and we want to help. Sindio?
Yeah.
How do you talk to someone ambaye iko stress?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So you find someone who is stressed. Wajua obviously utaenda kuambia that person sorry, you'll be okay. Umeona? Or ama you know, hii ni kitu ya kawaida, with time itaisha.
Of which those are the common words watu wanatumia.
Yeah, those are the itaisha tu, ni amda. Ama there's ile mzazi na mtoto wake atasema you are too young to be stressed, alafu inaisha tu hivyo. Umeona? And you know, you can also refer these people, just as I think my colleague alikuwa amegusia kitu tukianza. When you realize that someone has stress, there's a way that you can communicate with those people. Unaona? You see, there's a way you can find. Mimi na wewe tunasemanga, most of us men, we have that assumption, ama we have that thing ya kusema mwanaume afai kuambia mwanaume mwenzake shida zake. Unaona? So you find that I might not be in a position to help you, but she might be in a position to help you.
Okay.
So I have to refer you to that person. But sitasema just because you are stressed, I'll be like, okay, you know what, stress zitaisha. Stress it's ni kitu cha muda tu, in that we know that we have short term stress. Unajua that is just a short term thing. Kama ni headache, itaisha tu, meza Panadol. And you can agree with me that one thing with stress, hata kama ni headache uko nayo, no matter how many times utakuwa prescribe kumeza hizo madawa ama kumeza tunazitaga painkillers, kichwa kitawahi acha kukuuma. If it's stress, it will have the more unameza hizo madawa, the more hata utazidi kuumwa. Naona, so you find yourself that kila ukikuwa mgonjwa kichwa umefikiria sana dawa, alafu you just don't go to the hospital. Unaenda kwa zile clinics, because and I mean pharmacies, wasikia kimbia pale kwa chemist, bring me mara moja, bring me sona moja, forgetting that also those people wako kwa biashara. Yeye atajua kama that is stress, yeye bora dawa zake zimeisha, amefikisha target at the end of the day. Hata taka kujua hicho kichwa unaumwa na nini. So now, so you find someone mwenye yuko na stress, there's a way that you need to be talking to that person in a calm way. So just telling somebody utakuwa sawa, pana. Identify first the problem that person is facing. So are you in a position to help? Because mtu unaweza pata mtu wako na shida tu ya 50 bob, ni inamuumisha kichwa sana, and you have it and you can help that person. So why don't you just help that person, alafu msaidie hivyo. Ama weza pata this a long term stress mtu wako nayo. So you know, something like a long term stress, it's we just can't have a conversation. We just can't have a conversation with that person, with people. I'm talking na wale watu ambao hawako experienced in that field of counseling someone. So unapata mtu like akona financial problems, hajalipa rent ya 3 months, hana chakula, watoto school fees na wasumbua, ukiangalia akona madeni, bank wanamsumbua, friends wote wameokopa, hadi hana popote, hana any other option. So how will you help that person? Au utakuja kuambia mtu unajua uchumi utashuka, utafanya nini? Hapana. I'll have to refer this person to a psychologist. naona. So nitaenda kwa psychologist, alafu when I refer this person to them, it's not that nikishampatia kwa a colleague hapa alafu nitamwacha atamsaidia. So nafaa kwenda more and more often, like amepata msaada ako aje, because unajua sometimes kuna wale watu you are talking to them but imeaffect emotional sasa ama they just irritate, they feel kuna ile irritation, they just feel irritated with anything that come across. Ukimwambia anything like haiko kabisa, ukimwambia hii it's like sasa ndo nazidi kumkosea, unaona. So you need to identify first anasumbuliwa na nini, amekuwa akisumbuliwa kwa muda gani with that, which steps utachek ama which are the relevant bodies that will refer to this person, because if we ignore itafika mahali sasa atabidi ende pale Portrees, unaona. So it's something that tungeavoid kutoka kitambo. Yeah, so talking to these people, usiende hapo kwambia mtu unajua uchumi ni nini saizi, saizi kila youth kila mtu saizi, kwanza youth emergencies, we are very stressed because ukiamka kila time utapata with the different news, ndio mlikuwa mnasaidiana opposition, saizi unasikia iko maji, saizi unasikia the trend ni chapati milioni moja saizi, unaona. So it's something that inakupiga, unakasirika kabisa, the president should be doing this, huyu anafanya hivi, but ukienda kumongelesha atakwambia hata ukifanya hivi utanisaidia, utafanya nini? So
Sakina, hapo tumesikia Ray akiongea hapo on leading people to these bodies. Shela, your organization are doing mental health, ndio? And I've seen you talk to people having these sessions. Labda in statistics atuambie in terms of numbers, so how urgent it is, or is it a state of emergency? Tuweza sema imefikia at that point?
Well, we can say that, the thing about mental health ni izima, if someone ana suffer, just like with normal to say illnesses, God forbid, but someone has like cancer, all these, they are bad ones, but these are still, they are on the outer side, like someone is treating them and all that. With mental, if something is affecting your physical health, it's still, like it's on the outer side. Kama nimeumia mkono or something, it's open. But mental health, the bad thing about it is it's like an internal wound.
You cannot see
that is not being seen. So you don't even know the effects it can have on a certain person. Na tuseme kila mtu, kila mtu vile they've been built vile. And the way they've been created, kila mtu ana level of threshold yake ni tofauti. Ya kuvumilia, ya kuhandle, na everyone's way of coping is tofauti. Everyone's way of tuseme enduring is kidogo tofauti. And enduring, this we hear it a lot. We vumilia, endure, have patience, have this, you're always told this. And that's such a wrong advice. Like my colleagues say about that itaisha usijali. Those are not the words that are supposed to be used. That is more like there are these issues where trauma is even being compared at times, that. So kama tuseme mtu mmoja amesuffer from something and the other one is like suffering, you go like, but don't worry, yours is still okay. That other person went through even worse than you. And those are not the words they are supposed. It's called, there's a term for it known as positive toxicity. So yani, you are coming with a good intention ile, lakini the way of putting yourself out there is not good, because that person is at a very sensitive level. Sasa ujue what you can say inaweza kumuumiza pia, inaweza ku backfire. So that way you have to be very careful.
Okay. So sasa vile huwa sisi tunaambia na mama zetu kwa Kiswahili, wajifanya wana na matatizo akili, sisi tumpitia kuliko hizo sijui. So these are the things that tunakuwa shouted. Hata yule mtoto mdogo asema sasa una njaa, sisi tulikuwa tukikaa tuala chapati moja siku nzima. So those are your times. Sasa sisi we are in different times.
Trend.
The trend. Pia naweza sema sahihi on people what they do. The phones pia zinachangia, the social platforms zinachangia to endure these things. because mimi nikifungua sasa Instagram kila mtu anapost pictures yuko mahali fulani, and mimi mwenzako hata Kenya Mombasa sijaitoka, niko hapa, and ukiangalia wale wenzako wote umesoma nao there, mtu ana travel ameenda huku, kesho utamwona ameenda huku, nice places. Ipi inavutia zile, inachangia kwenye stress.
Ukiangalia even that's like what I said previously, comparison. When you compare your life to somebody else, you're never going to be satisfied. But I feel I'm lacking something. But when you start being grateful for your life and the way it is, believe me, it opens doors. Ndio maana I advise also people this, that in your journal, maybe you wake up first thing in the morning, have a small book or something where you're appreciating three things. Or maybe before you sleep, 3 things you're happy that happened that day. Just 3 simple things. Because they say that if you really want to understand life itself the way it is, and if you want to value it, so you go to a hospital and you see someone who's almost dying there. So that will teach you the value of life. If you see, go to a prison and you'll see someone who's in that, gereza ama jela, and that you'll realize the value of freedom.
Yeah.
And that is how it is. And you yourself knowing that leo nimeamka, I can walk, I can see, I can talk, I can meet people, I have a family, I have a roof above my head, I have food on the table. I'm more blessed than anything else. So why, to change you, rather than looking at the glass half empty, look at it as a half full. And that perspective is the first thing that can help you change and reduce your stress.
Okay. So hapo Corey. How can someone stay? How should someone stay mental health? And akue healthy mentally. You see, we have in this society sasa hivi iko. Mimi nasema ni ngumu sana mtu kuwa healthy mentally.
Yeah.
Being with those economic who anapiga shout huku, alafu kiangalia amesema kitu by the way na nigusa. Hapo trying to stay focused sasa hizo. Then huyo amekuja amesema hichi, huyo amekuja amesema hichi, yote inakubombard hapo katikati. How should someone stay focused to say?
Okay, thank you for that question. As I said earlier, managing stress or managing your mental health requires balance. So first, for you to be mentally fit, you must first appreciate yourself and appreciate what you are doing. Just as my colleague has said, at the end of the day, you need to appreciate what you've done or what you've accomplished or anything good that happened to that day. Second, you must maintain what you call balanced diet. Because actually yesterday, I met a stranger on TikTok who became a friend when we were live, and we were talking about keeping on how to keep your hair healthy. Because me actually nilikuwa najua to hair it's something that ikigrow you need to cut off. So ndo nikakuja kupata kumbe pia hair it's something that inafaa kushughulikiwa. It's something very unique. So she was telling us like for your hair to grow well, you must have balance that there's certain food that you have to consume and others that you don't have to consume. Unaona? Imagine that is just your hair. So you can now imagine your mental health.
Okay.
Umeona? So you need to have first balanced diet. Ukikula, make sure at least unakuwa na balanced diet. You also need to have balance in terms of fitness. How often do you exercise? You need to stay positive in everything you do. Positive in everything you do. For example, umesema nitamka tu asubuhi nipate my fellow youth ameenda nje amefanya nini. So we all know this lady called Gaida. So one day nilikuwa napitia kwa Instagram yake before we had our summit last year, because we had invited her as one of the guest speaker. So nikiangalia immediately ametoka China. Unaona? Imagine at her age, kidogo she's in Nairobi, kidogo ameenda wapi, kidogo kuna awards. Unaona? So huyo kitu kinakupiga ni I also want to achieve this. Unaona? Okay. You are positive about achieving that, but what are you doing about it? How are you balancing it for you to achieve it? In that haitakupatia stress. Unaona? Because these things actually sisi kama youth, the things that tunaweza tukapata, my colleague can agree with me that sometimes our mental our mind drives us on how we think. If you aim high to do something, actually to achieve, because taking a flight is not something very big. It's something you can do, but mbona ufanyi? It's because unafikiria I also want to take a flight, but there's nothing you are doing about it. Wewe unafikiria tu also, maybe hauna passport, hauna nini, but you are in, I just want to do this. You are trying to do something, but for you to stay mentally fit, it's something that you've identified a problem. Okay, how are you going to solve it? So identify a problem and find a solution to it. Don't just identify a problem alafu bado you are creating more problems on that identity. You keep on creating more problems. Itafika akili imechoka.
Kama ka action plan.
Yeah.
That.
Okay. Me, I just want to, in terms of the tips, tupatie tips.
Okay, so
Tupatie hizo tips.
to handle stress.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So, okay, like I said, our body has the happy hormones, right? The feel-good hormones.
Mm-hmm.
They're known as dopamine, there's serotonin, there's oxytocin, and there's also endorphins.
Mm-hmm.
So easy, these are really important. That's why they say have your daily dose, DOSE. Remember that, so this will also help. Now, dopamine is also known as the reward hormone. What it does is, like to say, if you have kept a task and you completed that task, you feel good, right? So the dopamine itakuwa release.
Mm-hmm.
And then ni kama motivation inakuwa tuseme you do something good that you wanted to try to achieve, dopamine ina increase. And then serotonin is a feel good hormone. So ukienda kwa nature, you just bask in the sunlight. Ama you just for me, I love going to the beach. Ile sound ya waves inakuwa ni very relaxing for me. So I really love just listening to those waves. And it's very peaceful, the breeze coming in, and it's very relaxing. So nature ni medicine.
Okay.
Use nature as a medicine, and go out for a walk, maybe somewhere where it's like green, park or something. That will help release serotonin. Like my colleague said about diet, that is really important. You have to have good diet, foods that are increase your intake of fruits, vegetables. Reduce your intake of processed meats and processed foods itself. Those are okay, they're fine, but they're not as good or healthy. So try to go for something more like natural stuff, and reduce caffeine. That is coffee. Too much of coffee is also not good. People go like, I have a headache, they have like 3-4 mugs in a day, and that is not good. Especially during evening, caffeine should be like reduced. So it's not good for your health because it's more stress for you. You can meditate, you can do yoga, you can just have simple exercise. And when you do exercise, there's a natural painkiller your body makes. You don't even need Panadol at times for that.
Okay.
There's a natural painkiller known as endorphins. Again, it's a hormone, I said.
Okay.
So that will help. That will, when you start, see, our body is actually connected in such a way. Your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and even your spiritual health. They're all totally connected. So if something is wrong on one side, it's going to have a domino effect on all the other. So you have to take care of your mind, your body, your heart, and also your soul. You have to keep on ensuring something is not affecting the other. So like say when you exercise, you've done something good. There's increase in the endorphins. You're having natural painkiller. And you're also feeling good because you did something you accomplished. So dopamine is also there. And you feel good entirely. So there's serotonin. And oxytocin is the love hormone. So that you taking care of yourself, automatically you're loving yourself.
You're loving yourself.
So that's a nice thing. And oxytocin, one amazing thing about oxytocin, it's known as the love hormone. So just having a friend to talk to, you share out your stress or your loved one, your parents. There is this thing that a simple hug can increase the levels of oxytocin in your body. And in us Indians, Asians, we have this thing of Jadu Ki Jappi.
Jadu ki japti.
Yeah. What Jadu Ki Jappi means is it's a hug of magic or a magical hug. And when you hug someone tightly, I mean, when they're, like crying or they're suffering or something, just give them a tight hug. Maybe that's all they need. And that hug, like your loved one, basically, and you give them that hug and that level of oxytocin is going to rise. They'll feel that feeling of trust. They'll open up to you. And that all that stress itapungua. Because now when this happens, your levels of, you'll notice your heart rate will slow, it will go normal. If let's say you're panicking, you're messed up, that will help. So these are important. Another thing you can do is get a pet. A pet is an amazing, amazing companion. And I would advise people, you can either go to animal shelters and adopt them from there, or you can even just get them from the roads. They're strays. Give them a home. You're doing a nice thing for them, and also you're getting a companion for a very long time. Now, I'll give you a story from my personal experience. One of my cats passed on. I love cats.
Okay, sorry for that.
Yeah. So unfortunately, one of my cats passed on after some struggle, and I was really devastated. And I was crying, and I was really broken. And I was on the muswala, I was praying, and my tears were just coming off. And one of my other cats comes in, and she's like putting her paw on my face and covering those tears. And you go like, this is a cat. How do they understand? But they do understand. And those purrs, they keep on purring next to you. They love you. They trust you. Those are all going to help your health because, it reduces the levels of stress for you automatically. It increases oxytocin. Again, that's a love hormone because you love your pet and it loves you back. Love is a very strong emotion. And the other thing that happens is those purrs will help prevent cardiovascular diseases, other diseases. They prevent you from getting all those. Journaling is very important as well.
Journaling is very important.
Yes. Journal.
And also, Amir, there's some very important thing that we all must know. For you to manage stress, you must stop under eating and overeating.
Yeah.
Under eating?
And overeating.
Ule moderate.
Yes.
Yeah, ikuwe moderate. Lack of or under eating, sometimes unapata mwili wenyewe una nini nguvu. Pia overeating becomes a problem. So you need to level up.
Kila kitu ina level yake.
Kila kitu ina level up.
I have a friend akiwa stress anakula chapati 10.
Yeah, that's
should
a
stop
mental issue.
overeating. You should stop overeating.
Yeah, that's a mental issue.
Sawa. Alafu kuna mimi hapa ambaye under eat. Kia stress. So I'll just try kama vile mnaambia say now I know the effects sasa. Inaanza kunigonga. Na wewe rafiki yangu umesikia to stop overeating.
There's one thing there's a quote I'd love to give in. So it's from a Hungarian-Canadian endocrinologist, known as Hans Selye. He is also known as the father of stress research. So now this person, he came up with this quote, and it really makes sense. So it's like, it's not stress that kills us, but it's a reaction to it. And it's a very simple thing because look, stress is there. It's going to be there. And it's also a natural response of the body. But now your reaction constantly to sema umeshikilia hiyo kitu for a very long time, that is what is going to cause the physical, mental, emotional and spiritual effects on your body.
Unasema the medical hug inaitwaje?
Jadu ki jappi.
Jadu ki jappi. So you should give each one the magical hug.
Yes.
Tupatiane mahug, makumbato Waswahili wanaita makamama. Sasa. So it's been a very good session. It's imekuwa so insightful, so informative. This is a series of us trying to educate our viewers and our listeners on the stress vile vitu tunapitia. These are the common questions tunaulizwa kule nje. And tunaona pia zina happen.
Yeah.
So we just try on our own ways to educate. Sindio? Tunajaribu to empower the community out there.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you 1 minute to advise the youngsters ambao watu wanatusikiliza on matters concerning stress. Advice to them. Tuanze na Sakim.
So my advice to you would be, don't judge anyone. Don't compare yourself with anyone. You are amazing just the way you are. You're perfect. You're worthy. You're valued and you're loved. And you do matter. Everything that you do matters. So just believe in yourself. And if there's any issue, anytime you feel like you would like to talk to someone, just know that we have an organization known as Hope. The doors are open for everyone. And we welcome everyone from all backgrounds. You'll have a whole community that loves to help and support.
Okay. Ray.
Okay, may I just have two things that I'll like to tell you guys. Stress is very normal. Stress is normal, but when not attended to, it will affect our mental health, because you have positive stress and it's very normal because it's natural, just as my colleague has said. And also mental health is just as important as physical health, so you should keep both of them important. You should consider mental health just as physical health.
Sawa sawa. Kumalizia tu tunasema tumeambiwa tu jadu kijapki, sine tupatiane hizo the magical hugs, tupatiane makamama. If you see your friend going through a lot, just try to direct them to the respective resources ama sources ambazo ni za kupata usaidizi. Stress ni ugonjwa, sawa. Ni maradhi watu wanapitia, and sahihi ndio yako sana, ndio. So as Let's Voice podcast, we had an amazing session. Usisahau kutufuatilizia katika mitandao yetu ya kijamii at Let's Voice podcast, from YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram na pale Facebook. I was your host Amir Muhammad Asmara. Till next time, bye bye.